What's up, everybody? We have 10 minutes here with Ryan Muckenhirn, and we're going to do another highly requested cartridge. Maybe I've said that about all these, because all these are very highly requested cartridges, but I mean, our doors have practically been beat down for the Nosler, the 28 Nos, or the 26 Nosler. It's another popular one that we've gotten requests for, but we have a 28 Nos between us. And Ryan, you're going to tell us a little bit about it. So where do we start with this?
Can I say something real quick here?
Yes,
Jim?
please, Mark.
So as we talk through all these cartridges, we got the 28 Nosler, we got 280s, we've got the 270, which is essentially a 7. Like, they're all actually, they're pushing 7mm projectiles. And my question is, and we're kind of talking about this kind of pre-podcast in a way earlier, did they call these things like a 280 and a 28 because people didn't like the 7mm? So it was a way to name the same thing, but kind of make it cool. Like, oh, I'm used to hearing 270. 280, that makes sense. That just sounds like the same, but better.
Yeah, SAE, phooey on all that metric crap.
Is this just speculation? Where am I at here?
Naming convention's always difficult. Because why is a 300 called a 300 when it's a 308? Why is a 7.82 Lazzaroni Warbird called the 7.82 when it's a 30?
We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know, Ryan.
Beats me.
Okay.
It even beats him, so.
It seems like a clever way to just denote that cartridge.
Sure.
Okay, fair enough.
28 Nos.
28 Nosler.
Or just Noslers in general, but 28 is here.
Probably my favorite group of hyper magnums as a whole.
Hyper magnum.
Yeah.
Not even just regular.
Yeah, not even just regular, more than regular. Rum-based Wildcat, maximum case capacity, maximum bullet weight, phenomenal cartridge.
It's a big cartridge, and when you shake it, there's not much maraca going on.
She's full.
There. Yes.
She's full. Really spectacular cartridge. If you are not a high-volume shooter and you want the flattest trajectory, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a commercial offering in a rifle of any kind and any caliber than the Nosler cartridges.
Talk about flat shooting here. Like we've talked about some flat shooting things here. I mean, one very notable one, like the 300 Weatherby.
Yep.
Talk about that now in this case.
So modernized case design is, we've touched on this a whole bunch of times. The 300 Weatherby and its counterpart in the Nosler line, the 30 Nosler, are very close. The Nosler is a bit more efficient, slightly smaller package. Nonetheless, they're both powerhouses. I would camp them well together. The 26 and 28 and now 27 Noslers do have contenders in other lines, but they don't do so with such sleek case design. So there's no belt on the Nosler. There's no unusual things about it. No radius shoulders. Not that there's anything wrong with belts or radius shoulders, but it by cartridge design standards is very strong, very modern, and maximizes potential to the nth degree. So I don't remember if this was the 168 ABLR or the 175.
That's the 175 ABLR. And I've got a printout here, Ryan.
Thank you for your printouts.
So
going over some of the specifics there.
This is listed in inches, which I'm not sure why. But the loading, when Mark took the 28 Nosler, what hunt was that on? Bears?
So actually, I took it on 2 bear hunts. So I took it on Southeast Alaska. Black bear hunt, and then also to Idaho, where we shot it at long range, but we shot at rocks at long range just to kind of really feel her out a little bit, but we didn't shoot at any bears with it.
Take over 6 mil irradiant at 1,000 yards. That's about as flat as it gets.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And actually,
what does it take? What? How far do you get with 6 mils with a 6.5 Creedmoor? I'm trying to rack my brain right now. You get
that's about 10.1, 10.2 to a grand.
Yeah.
So 4 full mils.
Wow.
Yeah. So big difference. And then the payload difference is astronomical too. So with the Creedmoor, we're shooting a 140. With this one, we're shooting a 175. This is a monster of a cartridge.
Yeah.
This is saying 1597 foot-pounds at 800 yards.
Yeah.
It's really not comparable to the 6.5 Creedmoor. I'm just trying to put it into terms that anybody out there just listening has never heard of this one or thought of this one before would understand. But.
So for a shooter looking for a cartridge that is extremely easy to shoot with respect to trajectory. A 28, a 26, a 27, a 30, or a 33 Nosler is a great option. They're not inexpensive to shoot, though, and this isn't something that you would go out and you would shoot every weekend all summer with and expect your barrel to last like your old 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor does.
Gotcha.
They're hard on that. I think for, like, if I was going to frame myself into picking up one of these classes of cartridges, I would want a rifle that I did not shoot spectacularly frequently, but was extremely effective. And in terms of trajectory, very forgiving. Low wind deflection, very low drop values, super fast, super flat, big numbers in terms of energy. And when paired with the right bullet, extremely lethal. It's a really good cartridge, and I'm enamored with them. And they're extremely overboard, probably by a lot of standards, but they do a very good job. The rifle that Mark had was a Nosler M48. I want to say it was
the M48 long range.
Yep, and wasn't overly heavy.
No, not overly heavy. It did have a brake on it.
Yep.
Recoil was
very pleasant.
Very pleasant.
Yep, far less than my Kimber 308.
Yeah, it was like surprisingly moderate.
Yep.
That would be surprising.
Yep.
How fast is one of these coming out?
What is the...
Did we say
on this 175, it's saying 31.25.
Oofta.
Yo.
So...
That'll do.
Like that 300 Weatherby that we went over previously, it was a 180 at 32.25. Lower BC, lower sectional density, much higher BC, much higher sectional density, albeit a slight dip in velocity, downrange on paper, no comparison. 28 Nosler just eats its lunch.
When you get a 28 Nos, are you better off just buying the factory ammo? Because it sounds like it's from the factory already, like snoozed up quite a bit.
Stellar stuff.
And we've talked about some cartridges where maybe it's one of the older cartridges, and now with modern case and powder and yada yada design, you can heat them up a little bit, and really push their boundaries. Can you do that with this, or is it already kind of like, well, as it is out of the box, it's probably as good as it's going to get, or as hot as it's going to get?
When I shake this thing, I'm like, case is full, Clark.
Right.
I like that.
Can't see the line, can you?
Yeah. So if you were to monkey with seat 2 depth, and open up some of that case space in there, because that bullet's seated pretty well into that case.
It is.
So
okay.
It's a long ways down.
A little something else for comparison.
Yeah. So it's seated a long ways down. If you were to move that out, you would gain appreciable case capacity, and then you can. I know I've got some friends in Utah that shoot the 28 Nos, and a friend in Wyoming that shoots the 28 Nos. They do hand loads for them, and they do turn them up quite a bit.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Okay, and they're just seating that bullet out further then?
Monkeying with C2 depth, and then optimizing and maximizing like powder selection.
Okay.
But the factory loadings from Nosler, to speak to that stuff, I think we had that rifle all of a day, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Threw a scope on it, went down to the range. I think Mark zeroed the rifle in 3 shots.
Yeah.
Produced a sub half-minute 3-round group. We threw the chrono on it, extremely low SD, extremely low ES, and the gun was just...
It was a hammer, dude.
Yes, factory loadings.
At that point,
It's so good that I do a lot of hand loading, a lot less, I guess, in terms of frequency than I used to. I'd probably just buy the factory ammo.
Right. Well, and like you said, it's something you're not hoping to shoot. I shouldn't say hoping to shoot, but it's something you're not going to be shooting at a spectacular volume.
No.
And so really a lot of times if you're talking about saving money, you really kind of have to be doing a lot of volume to start doing that.
Yeah.
So really, unless you want to super monkey with it and you're just kind of an experimenter and whatnot, then...
Yeah, if you like changing barrels, have at it. But it is a really, really, really good round for the Western hunter specifically, hunting things like elk, mule deer, bears, carries a lot of potential and promise.
I feel like it does. It's a great long range cartridge, and it also, I guess, for a lot of reasons, right? Not just trajectory or things like that, but I mean, it's gonna defy the wind a little bit better than some. I mean, it's gonna do a good job. Now, it did work when I was up in Alaska. Shot a bear at like 230 yards or something like that.
Did you recover a projectile?
Beach. Oh no way, dude.
Through and through?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
When did Nosler come out with these?
So the initial drop, I want to say the first one was a 26. It would have been like 2015, 16.
Okay, fairly recent.
Yeah, very. Yep.
I mean, yeah, because I really only started hearing about them fairly recently.
Yeah, and then they were adding more calibers in there. So now there's a 26, 27, a 28, a 30, and a 33. They've been wildcatted down to 6 millimeter, up to 416.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and possibly even higher than that. I'm sure somebody's put a 458 bullet in there because you can. And yeah, great cartridge family.
Did we cover the parent case of this thing?
300 rum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a rum based.
Okay.
But it is interesting how there's different ways that people can go about doing essentially the same things, which in the end is obviously, like going out and hunting or shooting and hitting the target you're aiming at some distance. But we've talked about cartridges on here. I mean, in today's little bundle of podcasts that we had the 6.5 Grendel up here. Tiny little petite things.
Total opposite.
I mean, let's
total opposite.
Put it right there next to it.
It focuses on super efficiency, light recoil. I mean, just getting the round there reliably, repeatedly. But you're probably gonna have to dial more, all that stuff. And then there's the other side of the spectrum, which is just if it's within sight, you should be able to hold about dead on and just pull the trigger and it'll get there. But it'll get there with a loud bang, and a lot of drama on your barrel and all this, that, and the other thing. So there's so many different ways to skin the proverbial cat.
Skin
here.
the cat. A lot of mouse traps here.
There are, yeah. But
A lot of cat and mouse here.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah, that's very true. And where you draw the line between like sanity and insanity with respect to cartridges, I think that line gets pushed every time you try to draw it.
Because for however many people are out there and they're saying, you got to have something big and burly like one of the Weatherby cartridges or the Nosler cartridge or something like that, because I've shot this many deer or elk with it. There's just as many people who are saying, man, it's all about having something that's pleasant to shoot. You can shoot it a lot, whatever. It's highly efficient. It goes out. Maybe it's not this big, giant behemoth. It's little, it's lightweight. But I've put down this many deer and this many elk and this many whatever with it. And
I talk out of both sides of my mouth all the time with that one.
Where do you end up? Do you like the big? Well, you just said your favorite caliber out there is the 45-70, which is in almost even another category of cartridges. But where do you tend to lie most of the time, Ryan?
I guess it depends on my successes and my failures. So I had a 300 Weatherby built for the Ultimate Western Game cartridge. The first animal I took with it was the smallest of the Western Game species, the pronghorn, and I shot it at 87 yards. And so the expressed intent of that build was to be able to, I actually built it more for mule deer. There was no distance too far with, I guess at the time, comparing it to my capabilities as a shooter. As I've progressed, I've gotten to more and more efficient cartridges, but that goes both ways too.
Well, I think a lot of it, if we're talking from a hunting perspective, it depends on the context of the hunt. Are you sitting in your tree stand? Are you anticipating a max of a 300-yard shot? And or do you need something that's going to be a do-all? Doesn't matter where I'm at.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how far I mean, obviously there's limits, right? But 600 yards, 7, 8. Yep, I need to be able to do that. Okay, well, you might need a different cartridge.
Correct. And because I have a problem and I can't stop getting new things, I kind of go both ways on it. My next build is going to be a 300 Wisdom. My subsequent build is going to maybe be a 6.5 Grendel bolt gun. I mean, I don't know
what to do with my hands.
I have a muzzleloader that is, we were shooting it at 1,000 yards the other day, 1,045, and I have a 54 caliber patch round ball gun. Like,
the Ryan is a riddle wrapped in an enigma. Here he is. He's like, the 45-70. That's my go-to. That's my favorite. But I do need a muzzleloader that I can shoot at 1,000 yards.
Just
that muzzleloader.
True
is
enthusiast.
So awesome.
It is awesome. We'll have to almost even have a podcast on just that. But anyway, let's hear where the listeners out there. Where do you lie? Do you like the big old boys like this Nosler, like the Weatherbys and stuff like that, or do you like the more small, efficient, whatever the cartridges like the 6.5 Grendel or the Creedmoors or whatever? Let's hear it in the comments on YouTube or on Instagram. But hopefully, depending on the order you listen to this, there are multiple here. You can go back and check them all out. But if this is your final one listening with us, it's the final one we've recorded for this holiday special. Hopefully you enjoyed these. Keep the requests coming, but hopefully we've worked through a good backlog of some heavily requested ones for you. Thank you all very much. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Bye.